This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Guest free the rest of the way, all the way until 6:30 tonight. Top 5 sounded pretty intriguing to me.
Let's start in Eagan, where the owners are meeting. Why wouldn't you meet here? Beautiful day for it.
I was going to say, man, the timing doesn't help us.
But, yeah, if we're trying to get the draft, which we know we're trying to, or the combine.
42 degrees and sleet all day.
We know the tush-push thing's probably going to get reversed. They're not going to be able to do it anymore. That's tomorrow.
We do know that?
Well, we think.
I hope you're right. I hate it.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Can't stand it.
Because this was voted on today that the NFL have approved a proposal for players to participate in flag football.
Oh, good.
At the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. I won't read you any of the flowery statements from the commissioner, but here's a couple of things that they put in there. You have to have permission for any player under NFL contract to participate in tryouts, a limit of 1 player per NFL team on each national team participating. A team has a designated international player that can play for his home country. So basically it's like 2. And a bunch of other things. Insurance, all of this. Can I just say, does anybody really want this? Like, if you're a fan of the team, do you want Justin Jefferson running routes in Los Angeles 2 months before the 2028 NFL season?
I guess what I would say is I don't really have any curiosity about how he looks in a flag football game. Weren't we doing flag football games on the beach?
Was
that a different kind of?
Yeah, I mean, they do for like the Pro Bowl games
None of that
and stuff.
interests me.
No.
I don't. Now, maybe there's a bigger market for it in a worldwide sense than I thought. Somebody took me to the woodshed and said there's flag football teams all over the world, and that's great.
That's true.
It doesn't, but I have no interest in watching it. Zero interest in watching it.
Training camp, the Olympics are supposed to start July 14th, my birthday, 2028. To July 30th. So that's about the time that players report for camp, right? Late July. I just don't think this is worth it to play a sport that's not really their sport in the Olympics to win a medal. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I guess I'm confused regarding all the momentum. I mean, I don't think it's likely. Is it injury concern? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
If somebody blows out an Achilles or something? Or
running down the field against Latvia.
Yeah, or
Germany.
And programs that have got nothing to lose, where they say, we'll just make a name for ourselves.
Right.
We'll take out JJ.
Think about it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm thinking of it more
You're not interested in it. Yeah,
I'm just saying, God, it's like that doesn't do anything for me. Flag football, playing it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. We all grew up with it. It seemed a lot safer than tackle football to me.
Definitely, yeah.
Back in the day. I remember making a big interception once in a flag football game to spark one of our greatest comebacks. This was at Dalewood Junior High School, Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's unbelievable. And you know what I loved about the play is it's the old you play possum with the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you act like you don't have any idea where he's going.
You're like Ed Reed.
You're just waiting.
Like the hitman.
I was a ball hawk is what I was. That's, I guess, what I'm admitting. Now, it didn't transfer beyond there, but it was a fun flag football thing. But that's junior high school.
Right.
It doesn't do anything. Just because the players are world-class athletes, I don't have any interest in seeing how they perform in flag football. Do you?
No, and I think it kind of cheapens the Olympics, too, because it's not like a real sport. Apologies to the flag football community.
Yeah, they're not pleased. I'm already getting a couple of complaints.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'd rather see? And I don't know if we have this. I went to a wind chill game on Saturday night.
Oh, that's right. You had the host, right?
The season opener. Had to throw out the ceremonial first toss.
Were we haughty or did we get it done?
No, we lost.
We lost?
Actually, Chicago came in and put it on us pretty good.
Often happens on banner raising night.
Yeah.
It really does.
I actually saw him put the banners up.
Yeah.
I was there early enough. They put them up at Seafoam over at Concordia.
You're celebrating too hard, and then the other team takes advantage of it. It happens in other sports all the time.
I'll say this. The crowd was great. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Like, we got to know those guys at the fair last year a little bit, and it's fun to watch. Like, those dudes are flying around. couple great diving catches for, I don't know, for points. They don't call them touchdowns, but that's what I'd rather see in the Olympics, honestly, than NFL guys playing flag football.
We're being reminded that, because I had vague recollection of this, that somebody got hurt badly playing that beach flag football in the late 90s. It was a running back for New England. And it was a career-ending knee injury.
That's what I'm saying.
But, I mean, they're not playing it on the sand in this case.
But it just still doesn't seem right.
Well, it just doesn't seem like, for me, I get they're saying, well, the only way I was about to say it just doesn't matter to anybody. Nobody's invested in it emotionally, but then the comeback is, well, the only way people start getting invested in it emotionally, you got to start somewhere, and you got to build it up to something.
I suppose.
I'm utterly and completely bored.
I mean, if we don't even like hockey players playing in the Four Nations, which was a smashing success, playing their actual sport. Yeah. We're good with this? I don't know.
Well, this is the offseason, though.
Kind of. Camp starts the next week.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. It is pretty tight.
So you get injured, it's over, Johnny.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for one soundbite of the two that I wanted to play. I think I want you to play. I think I want you to hear, because I think I know your reaction to the Cam Bynum on J.J. McCarthy one.
Okay.
It's basically he's the greatest ever, and he's going to be ready.
We already knew that. Yeah.
I think it's probably a waste of time.
Okay.
But here's Dwayne Wade on one of the billions of podcasts that are out there talking about
buckets?
Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
And I think this is pretty interesting stuff.
I didn't like the way he just approached the game. Like, I know Jimmy is a pass first guy. I know he's about getting his teammates the ball and want to see them shine. But it's a point where you're getting 60. Mm-hmm. This ain't working. You got to go. Yeah. He won't look at the basket. And I've seen this before. I've seen it in the Heat jersey. And so, in the sense, like when Pat come out, Pat say, we didn't want to give you extension. It's not always because of injury. Sometimes it's, I need to see what you're going to do in every moment, not just in one moment. We saw Jimmy in the bubble. He was off. He was a dog. Yep. I saw Jimmy in another finals too against the Denver Nuggets, and he did the exact same thing he did the other night. He did not look at the basket. Right. I don't want to see that. Like Jimmy Butler is too good of a basketball player to not have his imprint on the game. And sorry, sir, when it's time for you to take over, you just have to. And even if you can't do it from the standpoint of you ain't making those shots, I don't care. All right. Shoot. Yeah. Go to hell, ball. It's bad offense if you're not shooting. To getting too close in that paint and not putting that ball up to that basket, that's bad offense when your team needs you to do it. Now, he does a great job of getting in there and getting his guys shots. But it's times where your guys have done all they can do, and you the guy. Right? You're Batman because Robin is out. I mean, you're Robin because Batman is whatever the hell. Yeah. We get you. We got it. Your moment. Yeah, it's your moment. Yeah. And that for me was the moment that I was looking for Jimmy to show why they made that trade for him.
Well, he
at home, we may not. This may be it for the year. We don't know. At home, Jimmy, I need to see it. And so, man, what's up?
I didn't mean to interrupt Dwayne Wade. He must podcast the Bumper to Bumper program because this was the conversation that I had with Sam Mitchell.
Yeah,
and he's 100% right in that we've all seen Butler take over at times, but it's the disconnect of I'm gonna basically poison the atmosphere for any place I go where they won't show me the money. Okay, Golden State shows him the money. Steph goes down. He has one game where he tries to score, and he was over 30, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you're not going to always be able to get 30, but you've got to take more shots than he did. And that's where, to me, Butler deserves to get ripped. It's like, well, you want it both ways. You want to, as Wade said, you want the money to being the big shot. You can't then play the I'm just robbing guy now. No, not at 65, 70, whatever was it 60 million? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can't just go with the robbing part when it's convenient for you and say, but I still want Batman-ish money. And it made no sense how he finished that series. You're not hearing any criticism from Golden State. You know why, right? Because they don't want to get him mad. They feel like we'll fix it next year. We got to run it back, and it was weird, and maybe he was a little bit hurt, and we didn't have all our weapons, and this is still our best chance to win a title, keeping this thing together. But there's got to be an undercurrent of, wait a minute, Jimmy, you constantly talk the good game about you're tired of being the victim, or if people need me to be the victim, I'll be the bad guy, whatever the case may be. Well, they gave you everything you wanted in Golden State, and you finished that series with a whimper. utterly playing as if you had no interest in at least attempting to go out guns blazing.
And we always say things that sound better when said by other people, or great phrases that we've talked about the last couple of days. I love how Dwayne Wade said, "We know you like to get other guys involved," or how he said it, and I'm even mangling it now, but he goes, "They've done all they can do."
That's it. That's right.
We
they
know
are who they are.
They've done.
Yes.
You don't need to get Pods another step back. You don't need to get Kuminga involved. They've done all they can do. It's time now for you. That's such a great, concise way to put it. I thought it was interesting.
100% true. No question about it.
One more time today to try to give you some bonus bucks. BigDeck.com would love to help with that. The final keyword of the evening is green, as in Draymond. Go to KFAN.com, keyword green. Draymond, by the way, did we talk about this? Admitting straight up, he said in 34 playoff series, he felt like the one against Julius Randle was only the second time he just straight up lost his matchup. It was a really good soundbite. He said Siakam gave it to him in the one finals, and he goes, "I don't feel like I lost my matchup. I lost my matchup. Julius Randle kicked my ass."
Speaking of ode to a dead guy, it's not Draymond Green, but there is some sad breaking news in the pop culture sense, and we will ode that individual. Much more to come before we wrap things up at 6:30. Earlier today that George Wendt has died at the age of 76 years old, confirmed by his publicist. No details offered up via this statement other than that the family has requested privacy during the time. Wendt, of course, played Norm on a little television program called Cheers. And I believe he won. Not only did he win, he had 6 consecutive Emmy nominations for his performance as Norm Peterson on the Cheers program. If we are ranking characters in that show, which is hard to do, which is why it was a good show, why it was a legendary program, where are you putting Norm? Where are you putting George Wendt, the character that he played? Top of the list? Second? He's pretty close to the top.
I mean, you got to have Mayday on there. I mean, Sam Malone obviously is, Ted Danson's the one that kind of drives it all.
True.
The beauty of the show is it could be any of them at any given point. It could be Cliff. It could be Frasier. Could be Woody. Could be Rebecca. Who was, before Rebecca, who was it? God, what's her name?
You know me, I'm bad at names.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Before it was Kirstie Alley.
Oh, yes, right. Yes.
This is unbelievable. Yeah.
I can see her.
This is so sad.
Yeah.
It's happening to me now, too. It's unbelievable.
It's
but
inevitable.
He's right. I would say when people think Cheers, I bet they think Norm and his entrances within 3 seconds. Like when you say Cheers, I think you probably say Norm before you say anything else. So he's got to be 1 or 2, I would think.
He was in all...
Diane, by the way, it just came to me.
That's it.
Very important.
Played by...
I can't remember her name.
I can see her.
Yes.
He appeared in all 273 episodes of Cheers.
Yeah.
Every episode of Cheers. I forgot this. He had his own sitcom called The George Wendt Show. Do you remember that? I don't remember.
Very briefly, yeah.
He played a radio host car mechanic. What does that even mean? So he was both... Oh, I see. He was host. So he was a radio show where you do, hey, I got a lug nut problem. Can you help me figure it out? My carburetor isn't working. What do I need to do? But it was, I'm assuming, a call-in show where he's the host as a automotive car expert, correct? Or automotive expert.
Yep.
I think the show lasted only a month. He was on Saturday Night Live a lot.
Da Bears.
Exactly right. Through the 90s. That probably was his most memorable sketch, although he had several others that he was involved in. He is a student, or was a student, of the Chicago improv scene, a comedian at Second City in the 1970s. That's where apparently he learned his comedy and where he got very valuable experience. A bunch of guest spots in a lot of roles. Where are we putting I have to tell you that, and I consider this a defect. I know Cheers is a great show, and I liked it, but it was, for whatever reason, it wasn't for me one of like the shows I had to watch. I don't even know why, but where are we putting Cheers when it, in the glory years of when, felt like network commercial TV mattered much more than it does today.
Right.
Cheers has got to be, I assume, top 5.
Yeah, I was going to say top 10 at least, probably top 5.
Shelley Long.
Yes, Shelley Long, thank you. And she's been in Modern Family since then.
Right, that's right.
And a million other things, obviously. I think it's just a universal top 10 show that, depending on who you're talking to, can be anywhere in the top 5. And it is that era, and you would know this better than me, but when you think, like, for me, you come upon shows like Cheers. For me, it was because of my parents, obviously, right? They're your age. And Cheers was one of their favorite shows. Certainly my mom loved Cheers. I remember 32 years ago watching the final Cheers episode, which I think was 32 years ago last night.
Somebody texted to that effect, yes.
And it was just such a different time in terms of the bigness of what those shows meant. Every single week, you had to wait. If there was a cliffhanger, you were going to do it. The season finale was a big deal. That show was on 11 years, I think we said, 273 episodes.
Yes.
That doesn't happen anymore. Very rarely, right? You're getting 10 episodes at a time that you can stream whenever you want to and just bang through however many you want, all these miniseries. So I think for the time, it was probably top 2 or 3, depending on where you want to rank it. All time, it's got to be 5 or 10.
Most of the estimates that have been offered up again today is that the final episode of Cheers attracted 93 million viewers.
I believe that. Yeah.
So you think those numbers are almost incalculable in today's watching environment, right?
Yes.
That you're not there. There are no shows that are going to come close to approximate those kinds of numbers. There were not as many options then as there are now. I mean, basically the Super Bowl can do it. In fact, let's see if I saved the tweet just to show you how things have changed and how it's all relative.
I've got a number for you, too, to get to, but go ahead.
ESPN, through the first 22 games of the 2025 NBA playoffs on ESPN platforms, ESPN NBA is averaging 4.88 million viewers, up 12% from last year. And that's impressive for what it is, but it just goes to show you how different the world is. Now, that's a sports thing, but that's nevertheless... It's a completely different age compared to what we were talking about back then.
67 million people watched the first Kamala Harris-Donald Trump debate.
There you go.
So basically,
and that was considered extraordinary.
It's a good number. It just shows you
for TV.
It's important. And so 93 million people, I definitely believe it because it was a big deal when those shows ended back then. We just didn't have as many options.
Weren't as many options. That's where it started. Norm, how's your day? It's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. That's the line.
You think about it, I wonder how many... Did they do 273 of those if he was on 273 shows, right? Because every time he walked in, that was the bit, right? They all yelled Norm. Evening, everybody. Norm, Mayday. Sam Malone asks him something like that. He sits down next to Cliff. And you're off and running. He probably did hundreds of those, right?
Correct.
That they had to come up with.
For sure, yeah.
And every bar has a Norm.
Well, that's it. That's what made it so relatable.
And every person, you'll say, he's like the Norm of this place, right?
Correct.
You're like Norm. Wherever you go, a school, not just where someone is just omnipresent, that was Norm Peterson.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, for me, because a lot of this is taste, well, Seinfeld, for a lot of people, would be right there with it, or probably even ahead of it. Yeah. Right, for some people.
For me, it's Seinfeld.
I'm surprised it's not Friends.
Friends is close.
I know for you.
But the same time, same era.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it would be MASH. MASH would be very big for me. All in the Family would be massive for me. Mary Tyler Moore, I think, competes there easily in that group. It gets silly to get into it is funny. I understand because we're all in the business of having to, occupy time, and space in the radio and TV business. But one of the big questions this morning this was the question, as this is the way it was presented. Is Jalen Brunson the best player left in the tournament?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the question. but I'm not sure what the hell it accomplishes.
Who cares?
It's like,
yeah,
he's one of several really good players. Are we really going to narrow the scope to debate now that there are 4 teams left? Among these 4 teams, who's the best player? I don't understand why that's an interesting thread of debate for people. You know, I just don't know. He's been great, and I'm not diminishing him, but the idea of we're going to pick him versus and it's all meaningless. So on that basis, does that mean he should have been first team All NBA? Which I don't think he's going to be for the regular season. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
But we do get into that recency bias, man. I mean, we really do. Where it's the last game we saw, or the last series we saw, and that's my caution to Julius Randle. He's being celebrated now like he's emerged to a place that puts him in a kind of rarefied air. But I guarantee you, if he struggles in this series and Oklahoma City wins it in 5, I'm not saying people will be ripping him, but he'll come back down very quickly. It's just It's all so fast, you know. And we all get completely. I even think there's some people who are picking Okie City in large measure because their last memory was the defense they played in that last game, which was impressive. But it's almost like nothing else has happened. And we hadn't forgotten about the Wolves because they haven't played in 4 days. Right? So it's strange how, and we're all guilty of it to a certain degree, but I think that's also, part of the story. If you have favorite, Norm moments or Cheers moments, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. That number is 646-8.
Fan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey. What's new, Normie? Terrorists, Sam. They've taken over my stomach. They're demanding beer. Good afternoon, everybody.
Norman?
What'll it be, Normie?
That's the usual, Coach. How about a trough of beer and a snorkel? Afternoon, everybody.
Norman?
What would you say it'll be, Normie?
Daddy loves you. Afternoon, everybody. What'd you like, Norm? Reason to live. Keep them coming. Evening, everybody.
What will you have, Norm?
Well, I'm in a gambling mood, Sammy. I'll take a glass of whatever comes out of that tap.
Here's a semi-local nugget on the late, great George Wendt. He graduated from Campion High School in Prairie du Chien, Chien, Wisconsin. Do you know where that is?
Near the Dells, I think.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure I've ever heard of that town. Have you?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. He was born, I think, in Chicago, but somehow he ended up in Wisconsin. He attended Notre Dame until he was expelled after attaining a 0.00 GPA.
Gaardsy.
During the first semester of his junior year. I was thinking Bluto Blutarski myself. Reportedly due to challenges associated with living in an off-campus apartment without transportation during the winter. He graduated eventually from the Jesuit Rockhurst College in Kansas City with a BA in economics in 1971. 75 alumnus of the Second City. So I don't know if that, he said, I don't know if this degree is going to do me, but you know what? This sounds like more fun working at Second City. 4 years later, Second City guy. So there you have it. The sad news of the day that George Wendt has died at the age of, 76 years old?
Yep.
Most closely, of course, associated with the program Cheers. And Norm, of course, Norm Peterson, the character that he will be forever remembered by. There's also another Saturday Night Live connection that maybe you knew of. He's an uncle of former SNL writer and cast member Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, Ted Lasso.
Did you know that? Yeah.
I didn't. If I did, I'd forgotten it until I just read some of the obits.
Okay, there you go. So there you have it. If you have any more George Wendt memories, let me know, and we will get into it.
Do you know who he was the father of in the 2006 WBCW show Modern Men?
No, I do not.
One of us Hollywood actor guy, Josh Broughton.
Are you serious?
He just sent me a picture of the two of them.
Is that right?
Yep, from 2006.
That's interesting. I had no idea. By the way, we mentioned much earlier in this broadcast, we played it again, the sound that you started the show with yesterday, a shot across the bow from a while ago from Finchie regarding his complaint that Oklahoma City fouls all the time, and yet if you breathe on SGA, you're going to get called for a foul as well. And it's been brought back for obvious reasons now that the teams are matched up in the Western Conference Finals starting tonight, right here on the Fan. Regular pregame will start at 7.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's after 30 minutes howling with the homies pregame. And then they will be back after the game with a wine line.
They're going to go hit a bucket of balls.
And come back.
Maybe watch the game and then come back.
You mentioned the Thunder coach. Do you pronounce it Dagno?
I think so,
Mark
yeah.
Dagno. Because sure enough, he was asked about, the Jackals found the old Finchie quote, said, hey, coach, what do you think of this?
One of the Johnny Athletics of the OKC Thunder.
Was it food in the mouth guy?
No, not Dean Blevins, who's burning us so far, by the way.
So far he's ignoring us?
Yeah, Blevins doesn't have time for us at the moment.
How about Stink?
Don't have Stink yet.
Sedano's
coming into town, so we might get Sedano.
And I got to text Wilbon again. I think you're right to remind me, because I think if I'm only doing it once a year, I don't think he's going to be that offended.
Well, and honestly, this is a complete tangent. Every time we've asked Wilbon to come on over the years. He's come on,
you're right.
He's come on, and he is extremely gracious. Yes, I remember the first time I got him on a Sunday Sermons, he goes, hey, please tell Dan thanks again for having me. That's 20 years ago, and I remember that. Wilbon's a good dude. Well,
he is a good dude, and it does. There are times when the sports writing cred helps, because you know people.
Yes.
You get to know them before, so they kind of know you're not a complete goofball, or if you are, they already know what kind of goofball you are. They're not going to be surprised on the air. I've told you the Kornheiser story before, right?
I'm not sure.
So many years, I think this was well before you were on the show. We talked about around here, okay, why don't we we're not paying hardly any guests, but some of the national ones that are on every once in a while, just to send them a token of appreciation, right? Just something to say, hey, look, we know this isn't much.
Nice touch.
But we appreciate what you're doing. And so the idea was we were going to send some bumper-to-bumper, tall coffee mugs or drinking glasses, whatever, with the tops on them. And I remember, I don't remember if Roofsy was involved in that. I don't remember who was involved in it, but the idea was I was going to help get some addresses. Because to send these, you got to have an address, right?
You do.
Phone number's not enough. So I either called Kornheiser or I saw him at an event. I said, hey, we need your address. And without missing a beat, he says, I don't need a mug. Thank you so much, but I don't need a mug. Don't worry about sending it. Save your money. Don't give me a mug. Classic Kornheiser. He read it perfectly even before I brought it up.
Because that mug could be in the background shot now of PTI. If you look at, I think he's got all kinds of trinkets.
Yeah, you're right. I should have pushed him, is what you're saying. I gave up too easily.
The only time I remember booking Kornheiser, I remember exactly where I was. I was on the frontage road by Benilde right over here. Off of Highway 100, and I called him. It was the PTI desk, his PTI desk phone.
I think I remember that now.
And I'm out of the office. I'm running an errand, or I don't even know what if I'm filling in. Mm-hmm. And I called him and do the intro, and I'm already nervous because Kornheiser's not exactly like Wilbon.
No,
very different. He's very different. He's fine.
It's all bluster, but he's far more intimidating.
But it's different.
Yes.
And I said, hey, Dan would love to have you on the show. It starts at 3, and he just goes, what's he doing now? I'm like, well, I think he's at work. I just have him call me now. I'm like, okay. So I had to hang up. I got the message to you somehow. I'm sure that was a 4-alarm fire.
Yeah,
hey, let's get down to the studio. And there's a lot of weird stories like that.
There are quite a few.
Why did we even start talking about that?
We talked about it because...
the OKC guys one of the guys tweeted out, Finch is weaponizing the media.
That's the term he used?
So that's become a phrase in Wolves Twitter from all the young people.
Weaponizing is becoming one of the most overused terms, period. If you want to rip somebody and actually hold them responsible for something... I've seen it used in this latest Caitlin Clark controversy involving who's the Chicago player?
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese.
You're killing me today.
I am killing you.
I know, it's over for me.
Angel Reese. And the comment was something to the effect of, Clark was asked about how her name has been weaponized in order for people to feel comfortable going after Angel Reese. It's like, stop with these loaded terms, man, that sound so ominous and are so convenient to whatever agenda that you want to have. It's just absolutely pathetic. Anyway, I digress.
So Dagnall was asked.
He's asked about, what do you think about what Finchie said? And I don't know if you have the audio. What I have are the quotes, and there ain't much. I mean, he ain't biting, it doesn't appear.
Right.
We prepare the team for the games, first of all. I said this in the Denver series because it came up there, too. Teams, players, coaches are going to use the media to try to influence the whistle as a competitive advantage. My mentality on that is it's the Western Conference Finals. The guys working these games aren't here for an accident. I don't think they're influenced by anything I say or anything our team says. I don't think they're compromised by what anybody else says. We just are going to focus on what we can control. Now, the genius of that quote, because that's a genius quote, and I'll tell you why. If you're Dagnall and you believe what a lot of people believe nationally, you say, we already got the refs. So the last thing I want to do is make it seem like the refs are in our pocket. I'm just going to say, these guys are doing a great job. They're not going to be influenced by anything anybody says. Hey, Mendy Rudolph, you're not going to listen to what Finchie says, right? You're not going to be... You're not that small-minded. You just keep doing your job. And, of course, in Dagnall's world, they're doing a great job because they're getting the calls. So I think that was a very smart, subtle rejoinder to what Finchie said, where he's acting like he's not rising to the bait in any way that then the Jackals can go back to Finchie. But he can say, yeah, I'm in my own way. I'm buttering up the refs, or saying, just keep doing what you're doing. You guys would never be influenced by anything like that anyway. You just go about doing your job.
To get to this level, you have to be the best of the best. All that squinting comes out with gems like that.
Yeah.
People, including Richard Pitino, who worked with him, make fun of the squinting.
Now, how would you compare in a hair off? You got to give Finchie the edge, don't you?
Yeah. He doesn't have great hair.
The Dagnall look, I don't even know, how would we describe it? It's very close cropped. But I'm not good at describing. We'll leave it to the listeners to describe his hairstyle.
I'd say it's just kind of basic.
Pretty basic?
It's just kind of mid. Yeah, it's just kind of a basic, haircut.
I mean, it was
nothing too crazy.
I'm guessing it's easier to maintain than Finchie's.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Does Finchie bring a stylist on the road with him?
He probably has a stylist in every town.
You think
that's what the real pros have? Someone you can go see in every town.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
So I guess, and apparently, I didn't realize that this had come up in the Denver series. By the way, did you see who ESPN is adding to their analysis desk for this series?
The former Nuggets coach, Mike Malone.
That's correct.
So we try to have him on from Target Center.
Be tremendous if you can do it.
I know. All the ESPN emails have come out.
Next break, I'm going to text Wilbon. And then Day is, they're bringing him back.
For TNT.
The other series. Now, again, as far as the Wolves, I don't think there's going to be many Wolves cheap shots because, A, that's not their series, and secondly, even if they decide to go to it, he's been nothing but duckies and bunnies, as you reminded us, during the series and after the series regarding every part of the Wolves game. And I had not seen the podcast where he basically says the truth, which is that Randall had his way with Draymond Green in that series. There was no intimidation factor. There was nothing that Draymond brought to it other than, I guess, in that first game, hitting those threes early that gave him an edge. And Julius did seem to sort of almost relish the matchup. And as physical as Draymond could be, he backed him down several times.
What I'm curious about this year with him on the TNT set, especially when they introduce him, which will be Wednesday night, right? Tomorrow night. How much heat does he get as kind of a welcome to the club? You're out again. And, oh, by the way, team you were killing on this desk in the Western Conference Finals a year ago just knocked you out.
I'm afraid they won't bring it up.
I'm curious. We'll see.
I hope they do, because they should, because that's their approach. But for some reason, it seems like with him, they've sort of just grandfathered him in.
Because they were giving it to Shaq pretty good when Rudy was having the big game 5. Yeah. Remember they were saying Rudy would kick your ass the way he's playing right now, dunking on you. They gave it to Shaq pretty hard, who's been a Gobert critic over the years. Charles and Kenny did not let him off the hook.
They did not.
Shaquille
but
in
I mean,
game 5.
He's a regular.
I know.
That's the thing. It shouldn't matter. It's pronounced Prairie Duchesne. Prairie du Chien. It is south of La Crosse, Wisconsin, is what a couple of people are telling us. I wonder how he ended up there.
Pretty close to the Dells.
Pretty close to the Dells. You're exactly right. OKC coach looks like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
That's kind of what I thought on first blush, but his hair's a little longer than Jim Carrey's was in that movie. A little bit. I kind of see it, but not really see it. 40 years old. It's good being Dagno.
Does Mitch Lawrence think Green Bay is bigger than San Antonio? That's from Brian. He was talking about San Antonio being the smallest
media
market, I guess.
In the NBA, it probably is.
He's talking about NBA, yeah. Does Green Bay have an NBA team?
No, they don't. Doug Gottlieb coaches their college team.
How's that going? It didn't go well.
He'll be fine. Let him build the program.
Give him a minute.
He's trying to do a national radio show and coach.
Is Peter Vesey someone you occasionally get during the NBA playoffs? I think you've had good interviews with him in the past. That's Clayton. That's a really good memory. We used to have Peter on a lot, and I think he's still with us, and occasionally I'll still see one of his tweets.
Yes.
But I think there seems to be indication he might be reaching a point where it's kind of, the interviews aren't going to be quite what they were in the past.
And he's got a Frank Viola thing going on right now where I don't sense he loves the NBA as much.
Oh, is that true? He
certainly doesn't like the commentators.
Well,
any of them. He might be good, in all honesty, if it's Wolves-Knicks as just a historical Knicks guy.
That's
because
true.
No one is more embedded in the New York basketball scene historically than him.
There was a 30 for 30, and again, the kids probably will not relate to it, but they kind of should if you care about history. And it told the stories of the 1969-73 New York Knickerbocker teams that won the NBA titles. And the team in the late 60s was the first, as a sports fan, even though I was based in Chicago, living in that area largely, that was the first, to be honest with you, basketball team that I felt like this is a team in that whole is greater than the sum of the parts sense. I mean, that's a team that was with Clyde. Walt Frazier was a part of that team. Bill Bradley was a part of that team. Dave DeBuscher, Dick Barnett, Gary, Indiana kid, was the shooting guard on that team, and they were lauded at the time, like I said, they played really, really aesthetically pleasing, move the ball basketball, just a symphony in motion, that team. And then they won it again in '73 with a guy they acquired from Washington, one of the great playground players in history, Earl the Pearl Monroe. And he became part of the backcourt with Walt Frazier. If you've ever had a chance to see it, watch it. It's very well put together. Interviews with all the principals of sort of what the scene was like in New York at that point, what that team seemed to represent as well. And it's a very well done story for sure. I'll ask the audience here for the rest of the way as we now get closer to the Game 1 countdown here. And by the way, Wolves are 6.5-point underdogs tonight.
It's gone down from 7.5.
Was it 7.5?
It started at 7.5.
Wolves are getting some money. How do you feel about your team tonight? Not just tonight, but in this series. Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line 64686. Are you worried? We started the show early. I picked the Wolves in 6. Gaardsy has picked the Wolves. Sam Mitchell has picked the Wolves. Mitch Lawrence has picked the Wolves. It feels like it's a conspiracy. It's not like we screen the guests, and if they're not going to pick the Wolves, we don't have them on. We don't even discuss this ahead of time with people. But does it come off as, we're too close to it, and I'm not anywhere near as optimistic as you guys are? I'm not interested in hearing so much of the old wife. If something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen because that's what I'm used to as a Minnesota fan. I get it. I'm not denying that reality, but it's not really something I'm interested in developing too much today. I just mean more in a basketball sense. Are we giving too much short shrift to Oklahoma City? Are you nervous, or are you confident that you feel good about this team's chances to, perish the thought again, actually make it for the first time in the history of the club to the National Basketball Association Finals? Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line is wide open right now at 64686. Where are you on this thing? What do you have a good feeling? Are you pessimistic? And maybe more importantly, what are the keys? What do you see as the important ingredients here in terms of what it would take for the Wolves to win, what things you might be concerned about that you think might be worrisome to the Wolves as well.
How's Ant looking in the warm-ups? You're watching the same channel.
Looks pretty good.
Locked in, shirts on.
He's always got the lather. He's always lathered up. He's already sweating. That's part of the routine. I think that's part of what he is comfortable doing. And the shirts are already on the chairs.
Oh yeah.
And they're not the only team that does this, but I do think they're the only place where literally every single person wears the shirt.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think there's not much exception. I think in bigger towns, it's, most people will, but occasionally, as I talked about the other day, last game I was at a Target Center, I would say it was like 95% people were wearing it, but there was a good 5 to 10% of sprinkled in of, I'm not wearing it, or I can't wear it, or I don't want to wear it.
I did not wear the shirt provided for Game 5 of Golden State.
How did you feel about it? I'm sure, did you get mocked and ridiculed by your seatmates?
Not really.
Okay.
No, not really. Everybody, I kind of had it draped over my shoulder, so I was kind of playing it halfway. Like I'm participating in the whiteout, but I really liked the black Timberwolves shirt I had, so I just wanted that. I just wanted to wear that one. I liked that one.
Oh, I tend to like dark colors too myself.
Can I read you one of us Hollywood actor guy Josh Broughton's text about the late great George Wendt? Now,
yes, absolutely.
We were owing him. He sent a picture. He worked on a sitcom with him in 2006, and in classic Broughton fashion, it has a couple of his remembrances. But he sent a picture. They're at it looks like a bar. And he said, my dad on the show. George Wendt was his dad on the show. The Luis Ariz of sitcom. He rarely missed a pitch. Most important, a genuinely good man. Very sad. Said he was a great guy, never had a bad day, and was nice to my friends.
Very nice. And that's a great analogy to use. The Ariz thing is brilliant. That's very well played. And I think that makes makes him all the more relatable as well. We'll get to a couple of other texts that have come in related to the Wendt story, a little bit more on reaction to what people might expect from their favorite basketball team tonight. And if you got any Stanley Cup playoff stuff you want to discuss, you can mention that as well.
Fan.
If I understand this correctly, and we always have people out there who let us know. In fact, we'll get some kind of confirmation, I'm sure, tomorrow from Kessler. We don't have a budget finished. The Minnesota legislature, wait for it, hope you're seated, adjourned without finishing the budget.
Well, see you later.
Gobsmacked, of course, we all are. There's no question about that.
In the state that gets things done, we do.
One Minnesota. Not surprising in a sense that it's not getting done. The governor's never in the state at this point. Who spends more time in the state right now, Lou Nanny or Governor Walz? I think it might be Louie, and he ain't here much.
Yeah.
So there'll be a special session, but the feeling early is there's no point in doing it yet because they're not close to figuring some things out that still need to be figured out. So we're in a fairly familiar position, it would seem. The news was pretty ominous, I think, on former President Biden regarding the metastasized prostate cancer. Is that correct?
Yep, into the bones.
Which sounds very concerning. Although then I heard an interview on CNN from somebody saying, well, doesn't have to be as ominous as that. So I don't know what to believe on that. One of the things we have to ask, did you hear about the volatile comments from Dean Phillips in the wake of that bombshell announcement?
I don't think I did.
Dean Phillips, who, of course, he's the guy who was sort of, the pioneer in saying Biden we got to get a different candidate. With all due respect to President Biden, it's time. He got obliterated, bludgeoned by everybody, including Jake Tapper, who now has a book out saying it was even worse than we thought, which you can't make up.
Did you see the Jon Stewart thing?
No.
Talking about how much CNN is talking about this book. I should have reminded you. We might have to play it tomorrow. Yeah. It's 3 minutes of just because it's like you say, it's the classic book thing. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. The whole thing. Yeah. But go ahead.
Anyway, Phillips acknowledges a belief. This is tough, man. That the timing of the Biden prostate cancer announcement was no accident.
He's not alone in that.
He hints that you can't rule out the possibility that it was related to all the heat that the former president has been receiving. I have not heard much reaction to what Phillips had to say, although you've heard that from other places as well. Is that what you said?
Yeah. It's a popular.
Yeah, so it's
popular, especially on the right. It's a popular.
Well, but that's what's interesting. Phillips is not a hard. He's not a hardcore lefty, but he's not a righty either. So in any case, that's one of the subjects we may get into, I'm sure, with Special K, Pat Kessler tomorrow. Louis, who generally joins us on Tuesdays, will be in studio with us tomorrow. So he had some scheduling issues that forced him to hold off until tomorrow, but he will be in studio. We'll get caught up. They tell me the Stanley Cup playoffs are ongoing, and I will admit that I'm disconnected, not because it's hockey, but because we're not in it. And I firmly stand by my theory that it's a lot harder to stay engaged, whatever the sport is, basketball included, baseball included, football included, when your team is not participating any longer in said postseason. That's for sure. Wolves were plus 6,500, writes Wedgwood Shipper Guy. Before the playoffs started, Johnny Athletic liked that value bet. Now they're plus 550. Wolves were plus 6,500 before the playoffs started. Johnny Athletic liked that value bet. Now they're plus 550.
It was a great value bet at the time, for sure.
I like Ant on the road. I think we steal at least one game on the road. Young kids are a distraction. And I think Ant's record on the road has been better all season. Well, we talked about that. We got this was a subject came during the season, right? Well, our record at home isn't as good as it possible as it's been this season. One of the theories advanced was we got a lot of players with young kids.
We blamed the children.
We did, actually.
It's one of my favorite bits.
We threw the kids under the bus.
All the young kids.
Yes, that's it.
It's just one of my favorite bits ever. It's so good.
I feel great, writes John in Shakopee, about the Wolves in this series. They will clean up their mistakes, not be foolish with the ball. One more thing. Remind me who the Wild are playing this week.
Wow. State
of hockey? Yeah, sure. I'm just reading it.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say it. I didn't send it.
Nope.
Wolves in 6. Wolves have a huge advantage in experience in conference finals. Literally every one of the Wolves have conference finals experience. Dante and Julius were in the Eastern Finals last year. Julius wasn't healthy,
playing.
Right? Yeah.
Right. This is the first time
Dante
he's done this.
Yeah. OKC has zero experience in the finals. I think it might help a little. I'm not sure. I think some of that might get overrated a little bit.
Well, here's where I think it helps. I do think it helps because Julius talked about this a little bit today, where he said something he said to Draymond either during the series or after the series. He just said, I respect the Warriors so much now going through this, just what it took to get to halfway. Remember, the Wolves are only halfway. The Thunder are only halfway. You got to win 8 more games one way or the other. He said, guys are already going on their second vacations. Guys are already training for next season.
That's right.
He said, I've never been this far.
Having knee operations.
What the Warriors have done year after year after year, what LeBron did for all those years, playing until June, I think it does help understand. I do think it formed them a little bit that let's not mess around with Golden State.
Yeah.
Let's get this one done. We went through the meat grinder in Denver last year, having to go there 3 times, emotional game 7. They didn't have much left in the Western Conference Finals. I do think that part of it helps. Now, Randall and DiVincenzo were not part of that team.
Right.
But Ant certainly was. Rudy, Jaden, Mike Conley. I think that's where it can help. In terms of just the pressure of playing the game tonight, I don't think that's any different than a playoff game that any of these guys have played.
I guess part of what I'm saying is the Wolves have more experience, but they don't have championship experience. So I don't think either team is in that much of a disadvantage in that. It may well be the Wolves have gained going through the meat grinder to the degree that they have so that they don't repeat the same mistakes. But we're not looking at, like the Golden State in their prime against the Wolves in the conference finals, where you go, God, one team's been through this so many times, and they have championship rings to show for it. I'm not sure I buy that part of it necessarily. It's not close to Wisconsin Dells. It's down by the Iowa border, the town that George Wendt went to high school in. What was it called? Fond du Lac? No, that's
Prairie
a different
du
thing.
Chien.
Prairie du Chien, exactly it. Turnover battle will be the key to victory. I'm not sure the Wolves win it. Ant needs to be locked in at all times, not go ghost mode. Randall needs to keep being Randall, who I think was the best player in the series against the Warriors. Has been a matchup nightmare thus far. He was the best player in that series, although I still don't want to diminish what, given his responsibilities, what Edwards was largely able to do, even if he did turn the ball over. Doors wide open. Inexperienced OKC. Boston and Cleveland are out. Wolves are the most complete team. It's not homerism. It's a real possibility. Reminds me of the 91 Twins, a more complete team than Toronto, Pittsburgh, and Atlanta. Winning it all was perhaps surprising, but not unexpected at that juncture. I agree with all of that. We talked about that a week ago, about the seizing the opportunity with what was left in the West and with the teams that were struggling to stay in it at that point, who ultimately were eliminated, Boston and Cleveland in the East. This is a year where, none of these teams, among most of the big shots, were given much of a chance at all when the playoffs began, right? The top, what would you say? I think it's the top 5 or 6 teams in terms of predicting and odds making. All were ahead of any of these teams that are in it that are still alive today. Well, I shouldn't say
Thunder
that.
would be in the mix.
Thunder would be the exception.
Yes.
You're right. Other than the Thunder.
The other
exactly
3,
right. For sure.
No chance.
Yeah.
Everybody thought the Wolves were losing to the Lakers.
That's it.
First round, they were just going to be an afterthought.
The Knicks were supposed to lose to Boston, even if Boston was not quite as good as they were before. It was, look, again, they were up 20 points. It's still kind of amazing. You're up 20, 20, and 14 in 3 different games, and you lose them all. That's not a good sign at all. That's a bit of a...
And 2 of them were at home.
That's right. The
first 2.
That's true. And most of that happened before the big injury. Dan, this is Dan from Wayzata. As a lifetime Wolves fan, I am so uncomfortable. The Wolves have a great chance to win not only this series, but the finals. Completely unfamiliar territory, and I don't know how to process it. That I get. And we talked about that. It sounds a little crazy because you keep going, well, this is laborious and it goes on forever. And there's these steps that you have to take. And usually, if you compare it to some of the other, championship teams, including Boston, before they finally won it last year, it was several stops and starts in the postseason, to the point where the big analysis was the Celtics are going to have to break up the team. That
Brown and Tatum.
Jaylen Brown and Tatum, it ain't going to work, right? And patience, same as with Finchie this year on Randall. Patience in the case of the Celtics paid off, although I'm betting they probably feel like, well, we wanted a few more bites at the apple. And now with Tatum out for who knows how long, Are they ever going to be the same again?
And the money that Jaylen Brown now makes, it's very difficult, as we've all learned. They're probably going to be one of those second apron teams that might have to shed some salary, and Jaylen Brown might have to be the guy that goes. Like this version of the Celtics, we may never see again. The closest thing to a super team.
You're
with
right.
3 Olympians, basically.
That's
Obviously,
true.
Drew Holiday making $30+ million at his age. These days are about to be done, given how highly penalized these teams are for these high salaries and payrolls.
Dante DiVincenzo won a chip with Milwaukee.
Was he on the team then?
I don't even remember that.
Wow.
I think he did. Come to think of it, I think he might, yeah. Now, he was very good for the Knicks last year. That's when the Wolves made the deal. I think the excitement for some of us on Dante was, well, if you can get that version of him, because in the Knicks playoff run that ended before they wanted it to, obviously, he was very good.
So
extremely good.
He got a ring. He did not play any games after the first round after an ankle injury against the Heat.
Gotcha. All right. That makes sense.
But his injury was viewed as a hindrance to Milwaukee's ability to find postseason success.
I tell you the guy who you're going to hate. You know who you're going to hate by the end of the series, right?
Chet.
No. Caruso.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, and I'm not saying he's cheap.
No.
But he's annoying.
I get it.
Because he's all over. He's just, it's like he's got 5 arms. He's everywhere. And he's relentless.
I kind of like him though.
And he's a great addition to the team. That was a really, really smart move. But man, he can annoy fans just because it's like he doesn't go away. He's like a gnat, but a talented gnat who refuses to go away.
He can play.
We'll come back, wrap things up.
Show wrap presented by American Pressure, commercial grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper to bumper show wrap.
Louis and Kessler tomorrow, and I think a decent shot that we'll get Sam Mitchell tomorrow as well to react to whatever takes place in Game 1 tonight. This might even be a week where we try to go back to the Tom Crean well as well. We'll keep you posted on all of that. This is from, what area code is this? This is 224 guy. I got the Wolves at plus 13,000 on March 3rd. Put $250 to collect.
Jeez.
$32,750. Current cash out is $3,451.62. Go Wolves. That's Chicago guy. Or maybe it's Wolves Chicago guy. Maybe that's his moniker.
224 in northeastern Illinois, northern suburbs of Chicago.
How about that?
I'd let it ride. You got to let that ride.
You do, don't you?
Yes.
You got to play it out now, don't you? I hope he do us a favor, Wolves Chicago guy. Keep in touch with us on how this thing goes. We're very curious. See, that's where I'm a bad bettor because I don't even understand enough to know. Hey, that's. Because part of what you have to do to be a good bettor is you do have to take some long shots, right?
Yeah.
Now, you have to be able to afford that, I guess, but you have to be able to take those chances. But you got to be presumably smart about which chances you take. But right? You want to be judicious.
I mean, $250 to win $30,000. That's a good value bet. Buddy of mine.
How do we even? Would you know about a bet? See, I wouldn't even know about a bet like that. So how do people get to know those kinds of bets?
Well, I mean, you
just got to pay attention.
Yeah, you're paying attention. Like a friend of mine is in Vegas this weekend. For work, and he sent out a group text to all the high school buddies, all the Edina brosifs, going, I'm about to make a bet on the Wolves to win the championship. He got it at plus 575.
Yeah.
So everybody Venmoed him some money, and now we've got a ticket for if the Wolves win the championship, we'll make a little bit of money. Not $30,000.
Picking all the hometown texts. Let's be realistic, people. Well, again, is it unrealistic to pick the Wolves in the series? There's a lot of people nationally who are. There are many more who aren't.
ESPN Analytics would tell you the Thunder are 82% to win the series.
82%. Well, that's pretty prohibitive.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And maybe they know something.
They might.
We might have to eat our words on this thing, and I'm prepared to do it. I really am.
We had to do it a year ago.
I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta be at least somewhat true to my convictions as well. So we'll have to see. We had a lot more limericks and rhymes and whatever that I didn't get to. Tomorrow, I'm guessing there'll be a bunch more if the Wolves win.
Yes.
Maybe snarkier ones if the Wolves lose.
Yes.
Is that how it's going to go?
Probably. Yeah.
Howlin' with the homies immediately following our show. So that'll be the pregame to the pregame. The regular Wolves pregame on the Fan and the Timberwolves channel will commence at 7. And then opening face-off tonight. About 7:30, or is it one of those 7:37 things? I don't know.
I think exactly. I saw 7:37 or so.
So, I'm seeing the countdown to game time, according to ESPN, right now is 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 38.
Oh, they're lying.
37?
Yeah.
36, so that's wrong?
There's a few more minutes added in there.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's how they do. They lie.
Get you there.
They lie.
That's how they get you there.
They do. Why are they only showing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Is there another team that's even participating in this series, in this game?
You'll find out an hour and 6 minutes
Will
from
we?
now. Oh, we'll find out.
Jaden McDaniel's going to get 2 fouls 4 minutes in. Then what happens? What's plan B?
Jalen Clark, baby.
That's it. Could be the wild card.
Stretch out, TJ Shannon.
You know what? Too young to know he shouldn't be doing it. That's the beauty of it. Too hungry, too convicted, and too intense. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Enjoy all the action tonight on the Fan. Post-game show, wine line on the Fan with the homies as well. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.
Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the great time. We love you, Dan.